So, we have to sit down and discuss something serious, because the San Antonio Spurs just had one of the most terrifying offseasons in recent NBA memory. And when I say terrifying, I really mean for the other 29 teams. We're talking about a young core that already made a finals run, a superstar who just did something almost no max player ever does, and a draft class that might genuinely be one of the best hauls we've seen in most recent years. The Spurs made perfect moves this summer to aid a roster that was right on the brink of winning it all, and in this video brought to you by PrizePicks, by the end of it, you're going to see exactly why this front office might just be building the next best NBA dynasty out west. Starting with Victor Wembanyama, let's actually be precise about what Wemby did, because a lot of people are getting this wrong. He did not take a straight up pay cut or anything like that. He's still on a full max contract on paper. But what did happen is the deal is now structured so the portion of the money comes as bonuses tied to hitting that 65 games played. And here's the thing, Wemby himself admitted that playing 65 games is pretty hard for him. So realistically, if he only hits that bonus maybe 1, 2, 3 years out of the 5, he's really only turning down roughly $4 million a year probably, so not the full $10 million a year like some people are running with. But still, it's a real sacrifice, and it gives flexibility to the front office. But let's not oversell it like he did something like Jalen Brunson did, because that would actually be crazy. Now when looking at Wemby's finals run, was it perfect? Nah, not even close. He averaged a wild 26 points, 11 rebounds, and nearly 5 combined steals and blocks a night, but he was still only shooting 42% from the field and a rough 27% from 3 on 6 attempts a game. For Wemby and all the hype, that's not good at all. But let's remember, it's his first finals, so let's cut him a little slack. But hold on, this is what people miss when they look at just numbers. The dip wasn't really about shot making, it was about shot selection when the team just couldn't get anything going. The defense would pressure him closely, force him into bad shots, and overall make it hard for Wemby to see anything easy go down. But what is encouraging about this is the things we did see from Wemby. He wasn't afraid of any challenge as he walked into every game giving it his all. He impacted every game in many ways, and when he was in a flow state, we would genuinely see him do things that are ridiculous.
5 on 4. Wemby's gonna pull a deep 3. Oh my goodness!
Certain reads Wemby would make on the floor showcased his growth, and for most bigs his size, age, and experience, they would have most likely folded to the competition like Chet did, or simply don't even have enough skill to even keep up. Then to piggyback on the defensive side, the numbers do back up just how much of a problem he was, even if the scoring was a little bit of a struggle. When you average 3.6 blocks a game on the biggest stage of all, this is when you know you're erasing possessions, making guys think twice about going up, and overall, making scoring inside very difficult for the offense. Some people don't think it's anything special because of his height and length, but trust me, not every guy his size or even close to it could do it the way Wemby does. Like, I get it, he's not the best when it comes to moving his feet on the outside, but his defensive impact still remains the same. Guys are scared to go up. So even if they are to beat him off the dribble, they're still worried because he could block him from behind. This year is huge for the Spurs. Remember, this guy's only 22 years old. Most players that age are still figuring out summer league, finding out their role, or maybe not even on a roster. But Wemby, he was carrying this defense in the finals. Going into next season, you get to build on that impact even more, but how exactly do you build around a guy like Wembanyama? Well, you draft like a front office on a critical mission, and that's exactly what San Antonio did by getting Jaden Quaintance. Putting a 6'10", 253 pounds, 7'5" wingspan guy in the mix with San Antonio's defense is quite literally a walking nightmare. But we do have to pump the brakes on the timeline just a little bit. Jaden is coming off surgery on his right knee and is expected to be out for at least 6 months. When you factor in how little he's played over the last year and a half, we're looking at close to almost 2 full years removed from consistent, healthy playing. I know everyone's hype and all, but if we're being honest, you have to be amongst the elite to walk into a rotation spot at the NBA level, especially after not playing that long. I mean, the conditioning, the burst, the reaction speed, all of that takes real game reps to get back, not just a simple training camp. So realistically, he really won't be a major force in the rotation until 2027-28. And even if he isn't before then, I'm really not judging that. And I don't think San Antonio is either. They drafted him so they could already have something in the future, not for what he'll be in 6 months, 7 months, or even a year. Because believe me when I say it, him and Wemby next to each other would honestly be crazy. But it's time we get into the deeper things, such as the obvious De'Aaron Fox and what he did in the finals and what that means for this team, Dylan Harper and what's next for him, Stephon Castle's role, and their free agency signings. But first, we must hear a word from our sponsor. If you know you can play responsibly and have the means to do so, PrizePicks is the #1 app for sports picks. As we all know, the NBA season is over, but the World Cup is on fire, and for my basketball lovers, the WNBA is in action as well. When you go over to PrizePicks, you'll see many sports to choose from, along with many different categories to select picks. It's pretty easy if you ask me. All you have to do is pick more on a player's stats or less, and it puts them right in your lineup. For example, Olivia Miles for over 4 3-point attempts? Yeah, let's lock that in. Kalia Cooper for over 19 points? I like that as well. And then after going through and locking in more picks, I can finalize my lineup, sit back, and let the magic happen. The greatest part about this is that PrizePicks is available in over 40 states, including California, Florida, Texas. And if you sign up for PrizePicks with code HMA, you get $50 instantly once you play at least $5. So either download the app or click the link in the description and let me hear your picks in the comments. Now look, before we get to De'Aaron Fox and all the drama, let's start with Tobias Harris. He's turning 34 next season, which isn't that bad as it brings another vet presence to this team. And with that, he brings something this roster desperately lacked, in that self-creation, especially when things went to a standstill. Tobias doesn't need a point guard to get him his shot. He can just walk into a bucket on his own. Last season, he averaged 13 points, 5 boards, and 2 assists in 27 minutes. And for the Spurs, this will be key in the regular season as it takes some load off the other players, and in the playoffs, it'll be needed as well, even if he isn't the most elite scorer. It's really that calmness and then the ability to knock down a shot for himself that will help out this young core. They also brought back Harrison Barnes on a vet deal, locked in Julian Champagnie, and Devin Vassell as well. All are solid players who keep the chemistry together and rolling, but now we have to talk about it. De'Aaron Fox. 4 years, $230 million, and he did not play well in the finals at all. Like, let's be honest, I'm not gonna sit up here and sugarcoat it, sweeten things up and all that. It was flat out bad. But when you take into account that he had a high ankle sprain, you start to realize why he didn't look the same. Some people say that he should have sat out or that he should have been benched entirely. But honestly, let me ask you something. Would you sit out in the finals? And as a coach, you probably don't want to force a guy to sit who's making that much money, or else you could get hit with major backlash. Yeah, NBA politics at its finest, I know. Me personally, I don't think they should move off Fox, as I believe in him coming back healthy will be huge for them. But I do see where people are coming from, because it was crazy to see that Dylan Harper was an absolute monster as a rookie in the postseason. I mean, Harper played with such pace that he looked like a vet at times. He's not a guy that's going to be blowing by you in a straight line every time. He walks you into the screen. He lets the defense make the first decision, and then he punishes whatever gap they leave open. That right there is advanced processing for a rookie. And this downhill pressure that he put on the defense would destroy them, as he could get to the rim whenever he wanted. And hey, I just made a whole entire video over Harper, so check that out after this one. But when you put his offense and defense together, you get a very talented player that does look like he belongs in that starting lineup. Now honestly, I would have liked to see more of that 3-guard look. Fox, Harper, and Stephon Castle. And it's important that we highlight Castle because his box score in the finals doesn't tell the real story. Yeah, the efficiency was downright ugly. But when you actually watch the film of the playoffs, you can see that Castle is being asked to do things offensively that don't really fit his skill set to the max. And that led to him turning the ball over more times than not. Along with that, he was being asked to guard the other team's best player every single night, so that takes a toll on you as well. Just like Harper, he can hound guards, wings, and really just apply that pressure. He's one of the best pure athletes on this roster, considering his length, quick hands, and the ability to guard multiple positions. All of this is bright and will help them next year, but as we all know, he's got to figure out how to be a threat offensively in the fourth quarter of games, especially in the finals. Now look, based on this roster they have and the pickups, who do you think will be key for this team next season?